It's your life, so drive smart.
And slow down. Buckle up.
Don't text and drive.
The life you save.
Maybe your own.
2 eyes on the road.
2 hands on the wheel.
Hello, I'm Jake from State Farm. Just kidding, I'm Dax Thomas, State Farm agent in California, Pennsylvania. Here at State Farm, we are dedicated to teen driving safety. Statistics show that vehicle crashes are the #1 cause of deaths of U.S. teens. The good news is, most teen crashes are preventable. There are proven strategies that when put into place can help our young drivers. The #1 strategy is education. We are super excited to be partnering with one of the leading experts in accident reconstruction and teen driving safety, Sergeant John Weaver of the Pennsylvania State Police, as he presents Survival 101, a teen's guide to staying alive. Take it away, Sergeant Weaver.
Hello, my name is Sergeant John Weaver, and the scene you just saw, I have lived over and over again in my life. I've been a Pennsylvania State Trooper for 21 years. 8 of those years I spent doing nothing but reconstructing fatal crashes. What I'm here to talk to you about today is a program called Survival 101. I'm sure you can all figure out from these slides what's going on in this picture. That's a death notification. That police officer had to show up, knock on that door, and tell that woman that her son, daughter, whomever, was just killed in a car crash. They used to call them accidents. I don't like to call them accidents, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Critical messages we're going to talk about today. Keep your eyes on the road. Use caution when riding with friends. Never drive under the influence of anything, I don't care what it is. If it affects the way you think and move and breathe, don't take it and then drive. Whether it's caffeine or cocaine, don't do it. Pull over if you're tired. We'll talk about all these in a little bit more in depth. Click it or ticket, seatbelts save lives. I want to say, if I'm remembering correctly, 66% or higher of all crashes that somebody's involved in, their lives have been saved by a seatbelt. Now, I always get somebody to say, yeah, but hey, Troop, what about my mother's brother, sister's cousin? They're in a crash, and their seatbelt, and the car went upside down, and they were unconscious in the creek and underwater. They couldn't get their seatbelt off. Kind of hard to get your seatbelt off when you are upside down in a creek unconscious anyway. So please, buckle up. It saves lives. Question. I know it's video land, but I was just wondering, how many of you have seen this program before, or else this is your first time? Just raise your hands behind your computer screen. Nobody can see you. Thank you very much. I was just wondering. All right, what happens? What causes people to crash? Well, most crashes, like I said, we don't call them accidents because accidents is something that your 2-year-old does in their diaper, and crashes are something that happens because there was a failure of either the driver, the vehicle, or the environment. So that's what we're going to talk about. The #1 cause of all crashes is distracted driving. Now, I know in today's world we talk all about cell phones. Well, it's not just cell phones. It's cell phones, it's radios, it's friends, it's videos, it's TikTok. How many TikToks can you bring up on your phone where you have seen somebody doing something stupid behind the wheel of a car and they're recording it? In my line of work, we call that a clue, and I love it because it makes prosecution easy. Please don't do that. When you are driving a car, drive the car. That's all you're there to do. Get there safely, get there in one piece. There's all kinds of distracted driving. I could tell you story after story. One of my favorites, and I have to share it. I know I don't have a lot of time, but I have to share it. In Florida, there is a woman who is driving to pick up her friend who she's going on a first date with. Now, she's running a little bit late, and she doesn't have a car, but she has a license. So she calls her friend who has a car, that would be her ex-husband. She borrows her ex-husband's car to go pick up her new boyfriend to go on a date. However, the ex-husband doesn't want her to have the car without him being in it, so he's in the passenger seat. Like I said, she's running a little bit late, so she's driving across the bridge in Florida. It's the bridge that goes from, I think, Miami out to the Keys. If you've seen the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger where they blow that bridge up, that's the bridge I'm talking about. She's driving across the bridge and she's shaving her legs. That is distracted driving. I've seen people reading newspapers, eating McDonald's, shaving their face, putting makeup on. All these things to save you a couple of minutes. You're doing it behind the wheel of a car and you're risking the rest of your life. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about, driver error, inexperience. What is the most dangerous thing a 15-year-old can do? I've got 3 of them in my house right now. 3 15-year-old daughters. What's the most dangerous thing they can do? Have their next birthday. Because they're going to turn 16, and the leading cause of death for 16-year-olds is car crashes. Driver inexperience. This slide says 80% of all crashes are human error, speeding, and aggressive driving. 21 years of police work, 8 years of reconstructing fatal crashes, that number's higher. That's giving people the benefit of the doubt. In all of those crashes, I have 5 that I can attribute to vehicle failure or environmental roadway conditions. The rest of them were human error. Impaired driving, talked about it earlier. Do not drive under the influence of everything. I had a midnight partner who once arrested somebody for driving under the influence of Robitussin. Drank a whole bottle, but nonetheless, we arrested him for driving under the influence of Robitussin. I don't care what it is. If it affects your thinking, if it affects your actions, if it affects your ability to do anything, you cannot drive after having consumed it. Fatigue, lack of sleep. There are studies out there. 6 hours of driving. Somebody who has been driving 6 hours straight show the exact same driving characteristics of somebody who is a 0.08% by alcohol, blood volume, drunk. Okay? 0.08 legal limit. That's the highest you can be, or the lowest you could be, and still be arrested for driving under the influence. 6 hours of nonstop driving, 0.08. 8 hours, 0.10. 10 hours, 0.12. Pull over if you're tired. Rolling the windows down, turning the radio up, talking on the phone isn't going to do it. When your brain tells you it's time to sleep, it's time to sleep. I assume that some of you have been in class and gotten a little bit tired and started to do that thing where you go, okay? If you can't stay awake in class where you know you're going to get in trouble, how are you going to stay awake on the road when there's nothing there to distract you or nothing there to keep you focused? Pull over, take a break, get a rock monster or a blue bull or whatever those things are, and wake yourself up. So the vehicle is accelerated out from underneath him, and the result is he goes head first into the pavement at 40 miles an hour. He suffers an injury, what's called a subdural hematoma. We'll talk more about that later. But basically what that is, see, your skull's really good at protecting your head, but because it's good at protecting your head, it doesn't leave any room for your brain to expand when your brain gets injured. And your brain bleeds and bruises just like every other part of your body. So what happens is that swelling begins to put pressure back on the brain, and that pressure starts to kill brain cells. In this case, he didn't survive long enough for treatment. But I want you to take a look at that, and I want you to understand that because he was going too fast and didn't take care of his car, and he lost control, and he was hit by another vehicle, that's the last image his family, his loved ones, his mom and dad are going to have of him for the rest of their lives. Because everybody comes to the hospital and everybody wants to see what happened, and that gets seared into your brain. Speed versus alcohol. Told you we'd talk about alcohol some more. Take a look at this car. It's a relatively common vehicle that's on the road out there in Pennsylvania. I want you to get a good look at it and just mention to yourself, or write down next to you by your computer there, what kind of car you think it is when you're able to identify it. So this young lady, after work, decided that she was going to go out and have some drinks with her friend. Nothing wrong with that. She's of age. They go to her friend's apartment. They go out on the town. They're enjoying themselves. She's drinking, she's drinking, she's drinking. And at some point around the end of the night, she looks at her friend and she says, "Friend, I think I'm too drive to drunk." And the friend said, "Oh, absolutely you are." And she said, "Can I stay at your house tonight?" And the friend said, "Absolutely." So we made a really good decision. We're going to sleep at our friend's house. She's still in there, by the way. She's still in that car. So she drinks herself right up to about a 0.18, 0.19. Then she goes to her friend's house, she lays down, and she goes to sleep for about 5 hours. Now, metabolism of alcohol. For every drink an adult drinks, their blood alcohol level goes up about 0.012 to 0.015. On average, there are some other factors. For every hour you go without drinking, your blood alcohol level drops by about 0.012 to 0.015. So after 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours of not drinking, her blood alcohol level has gone down 0.06 to 0.72 or 0.72. Now, I told you that she was a 0.18 when she ended her night. If you take 180 and you subtract 72 or 60 from it, the result you come up with is still drunk. You would be amazed at the amount of people that I used to arrest on Sunday mornings for being drunk behind the wheel. Because everybody thinks, "Oh, I went to sleep, I'm fine, I could drive now." No, you can't. Sleep is not the magic elixir to undo all the drinking you did the night before. Time is. Like I said, she's still in there. That's the car she hit. It's an offset collision, one of the most common highway collisions, left front to left front. Bigger is better. That truck kind of won the fight if you look at it. The truck's in a lot better shape than the car is. I don't know if anybody's figured it out yet. Driver of the truck was injured. Take a look there. Maybe you can see her. She is belted, but high speed, high impact, not going to save your life. And that's the last image that her family gets to have of her. She started off down the right path of making the right decision, but she got up in the morning and said, "Oh my goodness, I've got to go to work. I have to get there. I got to go home first. I can't go to work in the clothes I went out to the bar in." So she gets up early, she hits the road, she had a little bit of adrenaline, made everything seem okay, and then as she got further and further down the road, the effects of that alcohol crept back in. She crossed a double yellow line at a high rate of speed, hit the truck head on, and it killed her. Construction zone crashes. We like you to pay attention in the construction zone. This truck driver up on Interstate 80 was not paying attention. He came upon the construction zone. He fell asleep. He didn't realize traffic was stopped in front of him. He left an overwhelming amount of skid marks. You could see them, maybe if you look in there, it's kind of difficult, but you could see them on the blacktop. And then you see where that oil drive starts. That's where the impact started. So it takes a lot of force for a tractor trailer to move another tractor trailer that distance. There he is. He was killed on impact. And that's the last image that his family gets to have of him. A guy out making a living. Inattentive driving, this is another one, not paying attention. I know sometimes those trees and buildings are tricky. You're driving down the road, you look at the radio, and all of a sudden they run right out in front of you. That's part of what happened here. The other part of what happened here is this. And that item led to the worst crash I've ever investigated. Happened on Interstate 79. 6 friends in an SUV that holds 5 people are driving north on Interstate 79. One of them was sitting in the cargo area because there wasn't enough room. None of them were seat belted. For whatever reason, they made the decision to use an inhalant. The driver, going 82 miles an hour, lost consciousness. The passenger, realizing that, the car starts to veer off the road to the left towards the center median. The passenger realizes what's happening, reaches over, grabs the wheel, and yanks it back. When he yanks it back, the driver wakes up. He feels the car going to the right, so what do you think he did? He grabbed that wheel and he whipped it back to the left. They lost control, went up over the embankment, very steep, very high embankment, started to come back down the other side, going end over end. The first time that rear end struck the embankment, the fella in the back fell against that glass. When it went back around again, he was launched out the tailgate, landed on Interstate 79, and skidded across 79 to the berm. As he skidded across 79 to the berm, there was a fella coming southbound on 79, driving a truck and a trailer. He tried to stop, but he couldn't stop in time. As that's going on, the SUV lands roof first on the interstate and starts to slide across. Right about that time, a man and a woman on their way to Florida from Canada on vacation smash into the side of the SUV. The driver of that motorcycle was ejected, Wile E. Coyote style, right into the side of the SUV. Struck his face on the side of that vehicle. His wife was also ejected from the motorcycle, and she smashed into the back of him. That saved her life. Unfortunately, it shattered her pelvis. They landed on the highway. She happened to be a trauma nurse. She could hear her husband fighting for his life. She could see the facial damage that he suffered when he hit that vehicle. She tried to get over to him because she knew that his airway was compromised. She knew what she needed to do to save his life. She had the talents, the skills, and the ability to do that. Unfortunately, her pelvis was shattered and she couldn't move. So she laid there on a highway in a foreign country and listened to her husband, who was just out of reach, die because somebody thought it would be a good idea to use an inhalant and drive a car. All told, there were 4 fatalities in that crash. This is an interesting one. Very well-built vehicle here. By the way, if you didn't figure out from the 2 crashes back, that was a Mazda 626 or 929. So this crash, these kids finish up their day at school and they're driving this nice, beautiful Cadillac. I don't even have a Cadillac, but that's okay. Driving this nice, beautiful Cadillac, they're on their way home. They're excited. They want to get home really fast because I think, Xbox 72 or PlayStation 19 came out. I don't know. But they wanted to get home and do their thing. Lost control, went off the road, struck multiple trees. What I want you to understand when you look at these pictures, this fire department, I'm sure I got a fireman or 2 out there, this fire department did absolutely no extrication on this car. The trees did all this damage. Now, there's no pictures of any bodies here because these 2 survived for a couple days. They didn't die right away. Suffered severe internal hemorrhaging, severe internal injuries, that subdural hematoma I was telling you about. And the only way to treat that is to drill holes in your head to let the blood and the swelling come out of your brain. So think about that. You go to see your brother, your sister, your little brother, your older sister, your mom, your dad. Somebody walks into that hospital room and sees somebody that they genuinely love and care about laying in a hospital bed with holes in their head and tubes coming out of them because they were in a hurry, because they wanted to save 5 minutes. If you go on a 20-mile trip and you drive 20 miles an hour, it'll take you an hour to get there. If you drive 100 miles an hour, it'll take you 1/5 of an hour to get there. In the grand scheme of a lifetime, it's not a lot of time. If you go 60 miles an hour, it takes 20 minutes. So when you run that risk and you put that accelerator down and you go 100 miles an hour to save 4 or 5 minutes, you're gambling with 70 or 80 years of life. Is 5 minutes really worth 80 years? Getting married, graduating high school, graduating college, getting married, having kids. You're risking all that for 5 minutes. You're risking all that every time you look down at a cell phone and read a text message or watch a TikTok video while you're driving, or worse yet, try to make one. Listen, I hate to be the one to tell you, but you're not going to get famous from TikTok. Have fun with it like it's intended and leave it there. Again, no extrication by the police department or the fire department. See that speedometer, police work? Yet again, another clue about how fast do you guys think this car was going when he lost control? Now, I'll give you a little hint. I used to be a school teacher many years ago. Seems like a lifetime ago at this point. And I had a crash at my school where a student, this scenario right here, rural road, winter, lost control, went down over the hillside. Nobody found him till the next day. He was very fortunate. He survived. He had a bad head injury, but he survived. This individual did not survive, and it wasn't the crash that killed them. You look around, some environmental hazards here. Snow on the ground, that means it's really cold. Cars inoperable, that means there's no heat. He froze to death because nobody could see him down over the hillside. After you're done with this, feel free to YouTube the old commercial, "This is your brain on drugs." Well, this is your face after it meets the steering wheel or the dashboard or the other driver. It's a good photo of an internal subdural hematoma. Everything that's white is bleeding or blood or damage. Puts tremendous pressure on the brain. That will kill you. It's a broken neck. Please, when you're driving, when you're out there, when you have people in your car, think, be responsible. Do the right thing, just because it's the right thing to do. If somebody tells you to go faster, don't listen. If somebody doesn't want to buckle up, don't drive. It's your car. You're the captain. I don't know if you've seen the movie. And they look at him and say, "I'm the captain now." You're the boss. Now, a lot of responsibility comes with being the boss. Because if you do listen and you do give in and you do crash and you do hurt somebody, you're the one I'm coming after. And I don't want to do that. So please, be careful. Thank you.
I open my eyes, I try to see, but I'm blinded by the white light. I can't remember how, I can't remember why I'm lying here tonight, and I can't stand the pain, and I can't make it go. No, I can't stand the pain. How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes, got nowhere to run. The night goes on as I'm fading away. I'm sick of this life, I just want to scream. How could this happen to me? Everybody's screaming, I try to make a sound, but no one hears me. I'm slipping off the edge, I'm hanging by a thread. I wanna start this over again. So I try to hold on to a time when nothing mattered, and I can't explain what happened, and I can't erase the things that I've done. No, I can't. How could this happen to me? I've made my mistakes, got nowhere to run. The night goes on as I'm fading away. I'm sick of this life, I just wanna scream. How could this happen to me? I've made my mistakes, got nowhere to run. The night goes on as I'm fading away. I'm sick of this life, I just wanna scream. How could this happen to me?
So a little earlier, I told you there were 3 types of collision in every crash. That was a lie. There's 4. This video shows you the 4th impact. That kid made one bad choice. He could have been anything he wanted to be in this world. Who knows? Maybe he was the star athlete. Maybe he was the class president. But he made one bad choice. He drank, he drove that car, he crossed a line, and he killed probably a classmate. With that one bad choice, not one family, but 2 families were destroyed. His family's destroyed, his life will never be the same. And that girl's family will never see her again. Please be careful.